Jake was just an average guy living in a tiny apartment in New York, surviving on instant noodles and free Wi-Fi from his neighbor. His life was simple until one day, everything changed because of a stupid idea. It all started when Jake saw a viral video online where a guy pretended to be rich for a day and got treated like a celebrity. Jake laughed at first, but then he thought, what if I try this just for fun? And that's where things went completely wrong. The next morning, Jake put on his only suit, the one he wore to his cousin's wedding 3 years ago, and rented a luxury car using almost all his savings. Standing next to the shiny black car, he felt powerful for the first time in his life. People actually started noticing him. A random guy even asked, "Hey man, what do you do?" Jake paused for a second and said, "I'm into investments." He had no idea what that meant, but it sounded rich enough. Things got crazier when Jake walked into a fancy restaurant. Usually, he would never even look at the menu because the prices alone could give him a heart attack. But today was different. The waiter treated him like royalty, pulling out his chair and calling him "sir" every 2 seconds. Jake ordered the most expensive dish on the menu, even though he couldn't pronounce its name. Inside, he was panicking. Outside, he was acting like he owned the place. Then came the moment that changed everything. A group of actual rich people sitting nearby overheard Jake talking about investments and invited him to join their table. Jake's heart started racing, but he couldn't say no. This was his chance to feel like he belonged. They started asking him serious questions. "What's your opinion on the market?" one guy asked. Jake smiled confidently and said, "The market is very market-ish these days." There was an awkward silence, but somehow they nodded like he said something genius. For a while, Jake thought he was getting away with it. He laughed with them, made random statements, and even gave fake advice. But then one woman pulled out her phone and said, "You should connect with my assistant. We're always looking for smart investors." That's when Jake realized he was in too deep. His fake identity was about to be exposed. Panic took over. Jake suddenly stood up and said, "Excuse me, I have an urgent business call." He walked away quickly, trying not to look suspicious. But in his rush, he tripped over a chair and fell flat on the floor. The entire restaurant went silent. His phone slid across the floor, revealing his cracked screen and a notification that said, "Low balance alert." At that moment, everyone knew Jake was not rich. The rich group stared at him, confused and slightly amused. One guy chuckled and said, "Wait, are you even an investor?" Jake slowly stood up, dusted himself off, and said, "I invest in survival." The whole table burst out laughing. Surprisingly, instead of getting angry, they found him hilarious.